Hey everybody, Travis Clater back with another strategic thought for the day. And I wrote a blog about 6 months ago, and I had no idea it would be as relevant or more relevant today than it was 6 months ago when I wrote it. It's about whether or not your company is ready to take a stand on a particular issue. Yes, things have changed quite dramatically over the last several weeks, let alone the last several months. But the point is that every company comes to the point where it needs to decide whether or not it's ready to take a stand on a particular issue. What we've experienced over the last several weeks with the social unrest over racial injustices is something none of us have ever experienced, certainly not on the communications industry side. Yes, there's been social unrest before, but not in this age of information and media consumption like we're all living through right now. So the big question is, how do you know when and how your company or your brand should take a stand? The answer is you never really know. The only thing you know for sure right now is you can't afford to stand still or be silent or be indecisive. That leads to losing control of your narrative, and that also leads to letting others decide what your brand or what your company stands for. And it's almost not up to the businesses anymore anyway. It's just not okay to be silent. Whether you like it or not, silence right now implies that you're complicit with and okay with the injustices that are being protested. So for any business, this is a touchy and somewhat uncomfortable conversation to be a part of, but that's okay. And we're not going to get into why being uncomfortable is okay and probably good right now. It's a different video for a different day. The thing to remember is it's just no longer acceptable to stay silent, which means it's time for you to join the conversation and you have to say something. I know all of this can be scary, but there's good news. As executives and as leaders, you can prepare for when your company has to take that stand or is ready to take that stand. And to help you do that, I have 5 things to keep in mind as you're going through that preparation process. First, know your core values. If you're considering taking a public stand on any issue or any topic, you need to ensure that it clearly aligns with and supports your core values. This is likely the most important step you can take. If you're not authentic with your approach, your audiences are going to quickly sniff that out. So stay true to your core values and what your company stands for, and you can weather any storm. And more importantly, you can be a meaningful part of the conversation that your audiences are demanding that you be a part of. Next, stay true to your mission. The mission of your company is your North Star, and it's what aligns your teams to ensure that everybody is pushing in the same direction. If a stance on a public issue doesn't advance your company's mission and what you've promised and the commitment you've made to your audiences, both internal and external, you may need to reconsider your stance. In the situation we're facing right now, it's not okay to be silent or complicit, which means you have to take a stance of some sort. So, if your mission doesn't align, at least in some general terms, with what's happening, you may want to rethink your mission, at least how it's conveyed to your audiences. Third, express those values and that mission in a meaningful, authentic, and transparent way. This is definitely not the time to practice the fake it until you make it philosophy that a lot of us like to do. If you want to take a stand, be open and transparent about what stand you're taking, your role in the stance that you're taking, and communicate clearly about why you're taking that stand. What does it mean for your company? Understand who your core audiences are, who impacts your business, and who this decision will affect the most. Think through the questions that they're going to ask you and come up with the answers in advance. But most importantly, be authentic and transparent in any communication that you have with them about this issue. Next, be open to feedback and listen to your customers. Think of this as the start to a beautiful friendship. And yes, I'm a huge fan of Casablanca, but in order to communicate in an authentic and meaningful way, you have to hear feedback. Yeah, good or bad, doesn't matter. You just have to be open to the feedback and be willing to adjust as necessary. Communicating at people will only build walls between you and them. You need to communicate with people, which means being open to hearing what they have to say. Finally, have an ongoing dialogue. Pardon the cliche, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. You've likely spent years creating and fostering your brand and reinforcing your company's core values and mission and communicating with your audiences. So there's no reason to think you can get through this quickly. If it's important enough to align with your core values, then invest in making sure that you have an ongoing dialogue with your stakeholders and communicating the importance of the stand that you're taking. Now, taking a stand is never easy. It takes resources, time, creativity, and certainly commitment. So, my last piece of advice is this: don't think of this as taking a stand. That mentality inherently seems short-sighted and short-term to me. What we're seeing right now is a desire and even a demand for meaningful change and an expectation from these people and your audiences that brands and companies help lead that change. This should be an extension of your core values and what your company stands for, what your brand stands for. If you look at this as anything but a meaningful extension of your brand, this may be your last stand. But if it's done the right way and for the right reason, it can yield amazing results and help you be a part of something that your audiences are craving and demanding. And there's your strategic thought for the day. Thanks so much for joining me for that quick discussion. And be sure to check out our other strategic thoughts, as well as our blog posts, and even sign up for our newsletter at tcstrategic.com. Thanks so much.